Hey agents, thanks for tuning into this video. Veterans, this build, this video, this guide I'm gonna put out here, this one is not for you. You already have these two builds. You can call it I'm copying the builds or not, but everybody has these. It doesn't really matter. I've been using them since a variation since TU10. So I'm just trying to help out the guys on Legendary to do some legendaries that are a bit new. Yes, so this is a copy paste cookie cutter build for skill damage. It uses the assault turret skill. Okay, so you can see the damage is 124 without me actually doing anything, without shooting or activating any buffs and stuff like that. I like using the striker drone. You can use it something else if you want to. The damage here 86,000, so that's 86,000 damage per bullet. That one is 124,000 a bullet. That's without taking any buffs into account and stuff like that. So I'm using the 3-piece. What you have here is Impress. You could actually run, before we had Impress, you had Hannah U, you had a combination of Hannah U, Woven, yeah, that's basically the combinations. You had to work out a combination for yourself for skill damage. You had to mix and match the brand seeds. But now the most efficient, skill efficiency. The most efficient way to run it is a 3-piece Impress, because you get your skill health or skill damage and skill efficiency. For those that don't know skill efficiency, that combines skill damage, a little bit of skill haste, a little bit of I already said skill damage. Okay, skill damage, skill haste. It adds a little bit of all of that, and it's called skill efficiency. A little bit, yeah. So I'm using tech support here. You can, if you want to, you can use this a named piece that you can use. It is perfect combined arms. It's a woven piece. No, it's a Hannah U piece. Hannah U piece. So perfect combined arms, the way that works is you actually have to shoot the NPC constantly the whole time. On this one, you don't have to do the tech support. As long as my skills eventually will kill an NPC, eventually, whether you help out with your gun or not, and then you get your skill damage buff for 25 by 25%. It lasts for 20 seconds. I have a crit chance mod in here, like the same, like with all the other the mask and the chest here as well. So my second Impress piece for the skill damage, you have skill damage and status effects on here. You can have skill haste, you can have crit chance, crit damage, whatever you want to. So that status effect, I could roll something else, but I'm using this glove for another build, so that's why I have status effects on there. And they have Impress again for my third piece for the skill efficiency of 10%. They have crit damage and they have skill damage on here, so you want skill damage on all your pieces. My Wyvern piece here, the 10% skill damage I get from the brand set bonus. That's the first brand set bonus you get. Skill damage roll on there, there's skill haste, and like I said, the crit chance mod to help the crit chance out a little bit, because this build doesn't have. It would actually be more beneficial for me to either have a Fenris chest in this setup, a Fenris chest or a Siska. The Fenris chest would actually help me to give a little bit more, to get 10% more sword rifle damage for my capacitor, and it would actually help out with weapon damage as well. A Siska would have given me at least 16% crit chance, so I could have had more crit chance on the build, because the capacitor comes by default with 30% crit damage, which is really good. So I have the sacrifice here, Providence piece, because it has perfect glass cannon on it. So I deal 30% more damage, but I take 60% more, so this is a very risky build to use in any content. So 14.4 weapon damage, skill damage over there, crit chance, all the way through. So perfect glass cannon, you have to be sure you're far away from the white tusk as possible, because they can look at you and they can just look at you and you can die instantly. That's the thing with perfect glass cannon. It's very risky. You can actually use kinetic momentum as well. That's always a good option. Kinetic momentum will give you at least 15% skill damage and 30% repair if you're running a repair with this. But this is skill damage, so that's I'm running two things that give you skill damage. You can see there the waveform exotic is doing its thing. Earlier I showed you it's 124 damage on the turret. There you can see it's 130. Earlier the striker drone was registering at 83,000. There you can see 77,000. So the alternating current is moving the skill damage from one skill to another. You saw in the gameplay already what it does, but I'll just drop the skills here so you can see it on your named. This you can see what it does. So typically you want the tusk to be over there. That's a safe distance. That's a safe distance. you typically want them to be over here. So while I'm shooting the capacitor also gives you a skill damage buff. As long as you are shooting the NPCs, you're building up stacks there for skill damage as well. So that's why it's a good idea to shoot. So if you find yourself that you can actually shoot the enemies at least every 3 seconds, you might want to use perfectly combined arms on a Hannah U piece. That will give you, if I can access this, where is that piece now? I'll show you quickly. Where is that piece? It's a Hannah U piece. I was using it a lot before, but I decided to make the switch to glass cannon. I was using kinetic momentum for a very long time. Did I get rid of? Okay, here it is. Perfect combined arms. Shooting an enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. So you're getting your extra 5% of skill damage, but the buff only lasts for 3 seconds. So you constantly need to be shooting at NPCs. For heroic, I would say perfectly combined arms. I was using it for a very long time. But this is a fully automated build. You need to kill anybody to get the buff yourself. You can just help out your skill a little bit, get the enemy down, and then let your skill do the rest of it. I need to leave the shooting range now to show you the other one, the other really popular build here for legendary. The game will not give me any nonsense about not being able to change the layout, change the build. Not much different here. Not a lot of difference. Let me go through it here. So again, I'm using 3-piece Empress just in different places. Capacitor again as well. I'm not showing you the crit stats and all that because that's not the crit build, it's not that important. So I'll go through the Empress once again, then you'll notice in different spots. I have the mask on here. So I have skill damage and status effect. I'll tell you why I have status effect on here. But skill damage, status effect is what I was going for, and then I put on skill ace. Skill ace because I'm using a seeker. So yeah, on this board I care about skill ace a bit. I don't care about one on the turret board because the cooldown is really low anyway, even if you don't have any skill ace on. Glass cannon as well. Ideally you always want glass cannon. They have skill damage, status effect again. And the third piece here, Empress again, is skill damage, status effect. So that's why I can't roll anything else on the glove because I use it in this build. And my Wyvern there as well, 10% skill damage. There's status effect and skill damage again. So I could actually use a second piece Wyvern here for more to get. You can see there's status effects because I'm looking for status effect. But I'm using the explosive damage from the China Light, and I'll tell you why I have the China Light on here. So the skill damage status effect against skill ace. I'm using this for perfect shock and awe because applying a status effect to an enemy increases total skill damage and repair by 20% for 27 seconds. So basically 27 seconds with a buff is actually a very long time. So perfect shock and awe. So keep that in mind. Applying a status. Okay, applying a status. Glass cannon. Okay. Yeah, using the same holster here again. The waveform that I just showed you, it moves the damage up and down per skill every 10 seconds after they build up the stacks. So this one, you can see the artillery turret here. It applies bleed status effect. So you bleed. So as soon as you hit the NPC with the mortar only comes with demolitioners. To keep that in mind, it comes with demolitioners. So you will have to sacrifice a skill tier here. Unless you roll everything, you lose all yellow pieces anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So you can't if you want to fit a blue in here or a red somewhere, you might lose a skill tier, which will hurt your build because this is skill damage builds we're talking about. So there you can see 3.6, it's moving up and down, the waveform doing this thing. So 3.7, so that's 3.7 without anything basically. I don't know which skill has a buff right now. I'm using the Airburst Seeker command because I'm applying a burn status effect, not the bleed. So you can actually use the Stinger over here as well, and there's another Seeker you can use. You can use the cluster, you can use the Airburst, or you can use the explosive. The explosive one, that's the bleed. You can see there's the buff doing his thing. The waveform doing this thing is the damage going up and up and up. So I could actually use the explosive Seeker command. It also gives you a bleed. But just to shake it up, to spice things up a bit, because why I'm using the burn is because when the NPCs are burning, they can't do anything. If they're bleeding, they can still shoot at you when you're bleeding, but if they are burning, they can't. It's almost like a little bit of a distraction for them. They can't do anything to you for a few seconds. They can't shoot when they are burning. I mean, even if you're burning yourself in the mission, you can't do anything up. You can't shoot. You can't aim properly. So I'll just put this short demonstration. You saw it in the gameplay already. But I'll first... I don't know why the game decided to throw the thing there. I don't think I can fire it from there. Ah, damn it. Call it back. Okay, so how you use it from distance. Get your perfect shock and all going. Then you drop your little seeker. Let your seeker do its thing. They'll just burn and burn and burn and burn. So my perfect shock and all is still active. Let me just get rid of those ones there. Perfect shock and all is still active. What is not to love about this? You don't need to actually do anything. You see the bleed damage, the 6 million shot. Let me just throw this down here. Let me see what this does. There's the burn. So that's just how you play it. You just stay in cover, you just burn. You can check the burn out there. Isn't that beautiful? Over 500k damage for that's why they are burning. Burn, burn, burn. Okay, now let me switch it out. If the game will allow me to switch out the Seeker to the explosive one. Oh, it does actually allow me. Let us see what that does for interest sake. So guys, this is basically how you make a skill damage build. These are two most popular ones that everybody is using. I can tell you this, everybody. That's what it does. Here's that bleed. Perfect shock and all, gas cannon. So this is basically how you play it. You just stay at distance. You don't need to go and be up on the enemy's faces. That's the bleed doing his thing. So guys, you can decide what you want to use. I mean, that's the legendary thing that I would use. I use one of these two, depending on what the team is running. If there's already somebody on the team running the striker drone and the assault turret, and there's somebody already running this, and I run a healer hybrid, then I use something like this. Where is that build now? I use something like that. Basically, I use this. If I see someone is already using that, or I choose to also use another mortar. So the legendaries, the floors in summer go really quickly if you have at least one healer, because you're using glass cannon. You can know if somebody's using a mortar or that the turret build, they are using glass cannon. So it's a good idea to run a little bit of a heal on it as well, just to keep everyone alive as long as possible. But guys, that's the most popular. I already put out a build the other day where I explained this build to you. So those are the three for legendary I would run. You can run your normal weapon DPS one. You can do that, but you might just take the floors might just take you a little bit longer. But you can. This is the safest way to do it. You just stay at distance. You see them coming a little bit too close. You just run. You just run for L. Deploy your skills and they just start firing again. But guys, thanks for listening to me. Like I said, this was a guide again for new players. Old players, you probably learn absolutely nothing from this. But thanks for watching anyway if you are still here. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.